Hello everyone, this is Jason Griffith with the first of two screencasts that I'm recording to support my chapter titled Enhancing the Argument Using Threaded Discussion as a Persuasive Prewriting Tool in the ISTE ebook called Literacy Magic, Text-Supported Instructional Practices. So you see in front of you my homepage at edublogs.org, just a basic free account. This is what students see when they access my site. The purpose of this activity and using this site was to allow students the chance to use threaded discussion to debate with one another to eventually enhance their persuasive essays. So we started by choosing 7 issues, which I'll show you here starting backwards. Students chose the school day schedule to debate when the school starts and ends and how the day is arranged, access to lockers and bags, what access they have throughout the day, no tolerance policies for weapons and fighting, reality television, whether it's good or bad and truly representative of America or not, the teaching of handwriting and cursive versus keyboarding and technology skills, access to personal technology like cell phones, tablets, e-readers, etc. throughout the school day, and finally Facebook in school, whether this could be, whether students should have access and whether it could be used for educational purposes or not during the school day. So you see for each one I created a brief blog entry, and in some cases I gave some web links to get students started, and then I required students to respond to 2 of these 7 threads, one of which they eventually chose to turn into a persuasive essay. So for each one they needed to write a paragraph stating and defending their position, and then also posting several replies, engaging with other students' comments. So I'll show you some examples under reality television. So you'll notice as we scroll down to the conversation under reality television that my students selected screen names. So the purpose of using screen names rather than their real names was to provide them some privacy on the internet, since anyone could view this page. But they also liked being anonymous to one another because it seemed to break down the social barriers, kind of those unspoken social clique rules of who's allowed to talk to who. So it was really positive. Students responded to comments rather than people. But of course, since they were anonymous, there were also some negative features of that. Some students felt more comfortable posting immature, irrelevant responses. Now, EduBlogs has some great security which prevents blatant vulgarity or anything that's really would be controversial is flagged right away. But students can still post some immature and irrelevant responses. For example, this student, they see me trolling, writes, "Is it right to show us a man abusing animals? Some people may argue that the show Call the Wild Man is just as controversial," and the student's comparing it to the show Jersey Shore. The Jersey Shore may be about a bunch of kids getting drunk and partying, but to some people that may be more interesting than watching a backwoods redneck growing corn and eating squirrels. Now, a little bit edgy of a response, but mostly appropriate, mostly addressing the issue at hand. But it was this student's use of redneck that fired up some other students. Here's a screenshot I took of some other students who responded to this. Mr. Shifty wrote, "What's wrong with rednecks? Watch you call redneck my friend." And Red Team 1682 replies, "I agree, there's nothing wrong with rednecks and squirrels are good." And Chelsea Boy 11 writes, "Tebow time," and "I love squirrel soup, you need to try it." So none of these are really that bad in terms of their content, but they're definitely irrelevant and not really contributing to anyone's persuasive essay. So what I did is I showed these responses to students and discouraged them and just said, this isn't the kind of stuff we're looking for. And then after I showed them to the classes as a negative example, I deleted them. And I called that active moderation. So each day I'd go through and find some negative examples, show them, and delete them. And I'd also highlight some positive examples and encourage more of the same. So let me log into my account here, and I'm going to show you how to set up some discussion settings. First of all, before we do that, in order for a student to post, if they scroll the whole way down to the end of a topic, you see there's a spot for their name where I had them put their screen name, enter their email address, which also helped me identify them, and this doesn't show up to other students. They don't have to put a website, they put in the anti-spam word, and then they type their response. I encourage them to draft that on Microsoft Word to take advantage of the spelling and grammar check. I did grade spelling and grammar along with the content of their response. And then paste it in here. And that also, in case there was any sort of glitch with posting, it gave them a record to save. So that's how students can post. But let me log into my account so I can show you how you set up discussion settings. When you log into your account at EduBlogs, this is the dashboard, and you see the most recent comments here. If you're just getting rolling, there's some really helpful tutorials over here on the right. And what I want to show you is over here on the left, down under settings and under discussion. a whole bunch of different options for how you can set up your discussion for various notifications and things like that. So this is the page where you can really modify what can be said by who and that sort of thing. So that does it for this screencast. The next one I'll highlight some positive